What is going on, Internet? Lou here. It has been a while. Hope everybody's doing good. And tonight we're going to be taking a look at the Redemption ROM 1.0.6 changelog. I'm very excited about this release. There's some pretty cool things I think that you guys will find helpful and that I enjoyed putting together. I'm going to be introducing kind of a new concept moving forward. So you'll see more of this in version 1.0.7 and beyond. And so let's get right into it. So 1.0.6, let's head over to the roots wiki thread where the ROM lives. And I got the change log up here, and let's start going through these changes. I've done more framework edits to increase the speed and responsiveness. I think you're gonna, as soon as you start interacting with the ROM, you're gonna see this immediately. Very happy with this. I've built in my Defiant version 3 kernel. Now, what's significant about this particular kernel is I'm using the Noop IO scheduler, and for those of you who are unfamiliar, the Noop IO scheduler has gone through some significant testing with solid state drives and flash memory, and it's been proven that it outperforms a lot of the other IO schedulers, obviously in terms of read-write, based on these technologies of solid state drive and flash memory, which is what we have here in our Galaxy Nexus. So this should definitely increase performance. I've also included a latency patch. I did not write this patch. I just included it in the ROM. I credited the author who did make this particular patch in the kernel thread. So if you want to check that out. CIFS and ton, for those of you who don't know what those are, I do have links to these here in the changelog. Those aren't on a kernel level. I've actually included those on a ROM level. So as long as you're using a 3.0 kernel, these particular modules were built against that kernel version. These should work regardless of what kernel you're running, unless the specific kernel you're flashing for some odd reason deletes the lib modules directory within the ROM. But you've got CIFS and ton support on a ROM level, which are obviously going to be loaded by the kernel. So that's another feature that we have there. I've got the custom Redemption ROM backup tool. This is really neat. I had a good time putting this together. Basically what I did is I got a little program that I have here built under the hood that you can run to back up your applications. Now, throughout the ROM thread, there's been talks about titanium backup and restoring data, and you guys, for those of you who have been with me for a while, especially since the Incredible Days, you know how I feel about that. And I'm sure there's plenty of you out there who are going to say, I've used titanium backup 1,000 times, I've never had an issue. And, to each his own, that's fair. It's just my particular preference that data is not restored. Data can be easily corrupted in between going from one ROM to the next, especially even if it's the same ROM. I prefer to just, start when I'm installing a ROM. I wipe everything clean. I want a fresh install. I don't want to chase bugs. I just want to know that everything is. If there's a bug, then that means it exists in the ROM and it wasn't left over from something else. So I created a backup tool that will basically scan your data directory for any installed applications, applications that you installed after the ROM was installed. And basically what it'll do is it'll create a backup directory on your SD card. It'll move all these applications over there. Okay, now every time you run the backup tool, it's going to delete the last backup and create a new one. This is so for whatever reason, if your APK in your data directory, if the version number ever changes, I don't want to have two of the same applications with different version numbers in the backup directory to confuse things. So, anytime you run this tool, and you can run it as many times as you want to, it's going to delete your last backup and create a brand new one. This tool is going to come in handy for a whole host of different situations. Basically, say you want to, you're not upgrading the ROM, but you just want to reinstall it again. Run the backup tool, wipe your system from recovery, install the new ROM. Then all you're going to do is use the File Explorer. Go onto your SD card. You'll see a folder named Redemption Backup. In there will be all your APKs that you had previously. Click on each one and install, and you are done. So really, really handy. I had a fun time putting this together. I was going to use a GUI application in the ROM to basically be the front end for this script, and the name of that app is GScript. The reason why I didn't use this is kind of twofold. One being GScript hasn't been updated in a while, and although it does load the script properly, the app does crash quite a bit. It doesn't crash while the script is running, but it does crash, and I didn't really want that experience in the ROM. Even though it works, I didn't want this, stopped unexpectedly message constantly popping up. Plus, I want to include this in the ROM. I want this to be something that I bring with me to every new ROM version that I create for every device. So I'm going to be creating a set of redemption tools that's going to go into kind of a toolbox. This is going to be one of my tools. It's going to be my backup tool, and I'm going to be creating more tools going on in the future that are going to do a whole host of different things. I'm going to be doing creating a tool that's going to zip align your apps on the fly, so you can optimize these even after the ROM's installed, while the ROM is running without having to boot into recovery. I've got one that fixes permissions. I'm going to have this one that backs up your applications, and I'm going to have all sorts of other tools that I'm going to create. The nice thing about this is by doing it the way that I'm doing it, it's not on a code level with AOSP, meaning say Android version 4.1 drops, I don't have to adapt any code changes to the source code for that, because these are independent scripts. So they're flexible, they're adaptable. All I got to do is transfer them from one ROM to the new source, and I'm done. And so, it's really cool how these work. Ton of flexibility. I can adapt these to pretty much any situation, and I really, really, really like this. And I think you're going to like it too. So I'm going to show you a quick demo of how redemption backup works and how you would actually use it in version 1.0.6. So let's see here. Let's open up a new terminal. And let's do... Alright, I'm going to try to capture my screen here on my Galaxy Nexus so you guys can see what I'm doing. Android terminal is what's going to be used to execute any of the tools, the redemption tools. Now, before some of you, you hear the word terminal and you freak out, you don't have to know anything about Linux or the terminal to run this tool. Literally, if you can type 4 letters on this keyboard, you can run this tool. So it's extremely easy. So let's capture our screen here. All right, I'm going to open up Android terminal. Okay, here we go, Android terminal. We've got to gain root access first, okay? To do that, you just type SU. Now, if I've already done this, so all it's going to do is just a little window's going to pop up and tell me that it's been granted super user permissions. If this is the first time you're doing it, you're going to get a super user dialog that pops up asking if you want to allow this. Just click allow. After you do that, there you go. That's what it should look like. The command to execute redemption backup is extremely simple. RB, redemption backup. So type R, then B, and hit the enter key. When you hit RB enter, this is what pops up. It's going to tell you it's preparing to back up your apps. It may take a minute. It's got to set the system to a read-write state. It's going to delete the previous backup to avoid version confusion. It's going to create your new backup directory, and it's going to back up your current user level apps. Okay? When it's finished, it's going to look a little bit like this. It's going to set your system back to read-only. That way you don't mess anything up and accidentally delete something that you shouldn't. And then it's going to tell you that the backup's complete. Awesome. All right, so this is done. All right, all you've got to do now is close your window. All right, now I'm going to go to... I'm going to go over and open up ES File Explorer. And I'm going to go to the root of my SD card. And you're going to see there's the redemption folder, which all of your mods are in. And then here, of course, is the redemption backup folder. Okay, that's the directory that the little program that I put together created. Open up redemption backup. And there it is. Here is all of the APKs, or the applications that I installed after I got the ROM up and running. And that's it, guys. Simple as that. It's going to back up all your applications and you have them in your backup directory. So if you wanted to restore these, it's extremely simple. So you want to reinstall this app, or this ROM rather, boot into recovery, do all your wipes, reinstall the ROM. You've already got your file explorer. I've included it in the ROM. So when the ROM gets up and running, navigate to your SD card, go to your backup directory, click on each app, install them like you would any other application, and you're good to go, guys. Now again, this doesn't bring over any data, that way you're going to be free of any type of corruptions, but this will allow you to be able to now have a working backup of all your applications. I also suggest before you run the backup, go out to the market, make sure there's no updates, that way you know you have the most up-to-date version of all your applications, market versions, and then run the backup tool. Okay, so that is Redemption Backup. Pretty neat, extremely easy to use. Again, open up Android Terminal, type SU for Super User, and then all you have to do is type RB for Redemption Backup, and then it takes care of the rest. So pretty cool. You don't have to boot into recovery. It'll back up everything right then and there while the ROM is running, and that's Redemption Backup. So hope you guys enjoy that, and it makes backing up your applications a little bit easier. So let's head back over to the thread, see what else has changed. I've applied lossless compression to all the system images to optimize RAM. Basically what lossless compression is it shrinks down the image data, makes it a smaller, makes less data basically, compresses everything. The less data that the framework has to read, the faster your RAM is going to be. Okay. I cleaned out some unnecessary framework files. I fixed the Picasa issue where it didn't allow you to sync your Picasa photos with the gallery. That is now fixed. I fixed the persistent issue that would not allow the user to stay signed in within the browser, so that's fixed. Fixed the permission issues with maps and latitude as far as logging in. So when you install maps from the market, you're not going to have that issue with it constantly asking you for permissions anymore. That's fixed. I fixed the issue that caused certain ringtones to be listed twice. I already mentioned CIFS and ton. I reverted the Wi-Fi scan interval back to the stock value. I found that by changing the interval to basically make Wi-Fi wait longer to scan, because chances are you're probably not going to need it to be constantly scanning. When you connect to Wi-Fi, you're probably going to stay connected to that same network for a while. The problem with that is it took forever at times for the initial connection to be established. So it was extremely annoying. I ran some tests after reverting it back, and I didn't really notice any huge differences in battery. So I don't think you're going to notice any losses here with this, and you're going to connect, your initialized connection is going to happen much faster. Let's see. I updated most of the gaps in the ROM. The blackout mod, this confuses everybody. This is purely aesthetic. It basically themes your dialer and your phone and your in-call dialer to have a nice solid black background. Solid blacks save battery because it takes less battery power to display a black image than it does any other color. And I think it just looks cleaner and nicer. One of the things that I thought looked pretty ugly was in your people application, the top header bar was this really light blue. It looked really ugly. That's now black. Again, it's just the subtle things, okay? So it's the same blackout mod I had before, except now it's also going to extend into your people application. The header is now black. No big deal there. Also, there's a handful of custom Redemption ROM wallpapers that are also pushed to your SD card. You'll find them in the Redemption folder. So if you want to run a custom Redemption wallpaper, you can do so. While we're on that topic, I put a couple of these together. You can see this one here I made. I also made this one here. It's kind of like a Roots Wiki special. And I also want to thank Mr. Zoso for his work in maintaining. He's got a whole thread, guys, of Redemption ROM wallpapers. So follow the link I have here in the original post and follow it out to there. He's done some really good work over there with the Redemption wallpapers. And also, I'm just going to pronounce that Knock. Knox put together some really nice, minimalistic, but very clean looking Redemption wallpapers as well. You can head over to his thread, check those out. So guys, I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. On that topic, if anybody out there is a themer and you want to build themes for Redemption ROM, I can release you, if you're a themer, we can have a discussion, and I may release some of my framework files or any type of applications you may need for theming ahead of time to you, so that you can get them themed up and have your theme released around the same time my ROM is released. So if any of you guys are interested in that, send me a message here on RootsWiki, or maybe shoot me a tweet on Twitter. And let's see. All right, and that's about it, guys. So there's a good handful of bug fixes here. Some of those bugs are pretty annoying. You've got the first introduction into the Redemption ROM tools, which is an application that will back up your apps. So hopefully you guys like that. Again, guys, super simple, nothing crazy flashy, but the way I've implemented it, I can adapt these scripts, I can build upon them, they're extremely flexible, and no matter what the source code does in future releases of Android, these are simply very, very simple to port over to a new ROM, and it takes very little time, but I think they offer a lot of functionality. So I'll be preparing a lot more of these tools, again, under the hood things, to just make your experience that much better. Again, while keeping this pure AOSP kind of aesthetic, but having a lot of these under the hood optimizations. These tools will help aid in that, provide in functionality without altering the OS, without altering the ROM at all. A lot of ROMs can tend to get cluttered up by tons of different menus, tons of different things. It tends to get a little bit overwhelming. These scripts will allow you to not have a cluttered ROM with a ton of different options. It'll allow you to be able to execute these things using the Android terminal. You feel a little bit more geeky, which is kind of cool, and you won't have your ROM cluttered up with all sorts of different menus and toggles and all craziness. You'll be able to execute these things behind the scenes, and I think that's pretty cool. So that's it for 1.0.6, guys. I had a ton of problems with screencasting today. This is my third attempt at getting the screencast finished. My first two attempts failed miserably, so hopefully you guys appreciate this video. It's taken me a ton of takes to put it together, and enjoy Redemption ROM 1.0.6. Please be active in the thread. Leave any comments, good, bad, indifferent. Hopefully, if there are any bad comments, you guys go easy on me. Be gentle. But, the feedback on the ROM helps new users really get up to speed, okay? And again, please, I try to keep a very detailed ROM thread, and I take the time to make these videos. So before asking a question, make sure to read thoroughly and watch these videos. And if you have any questions after that, definitely leave them in the thread. I try to be very active and keep an eye on all those things, as well as there's a whole community of Redemption ROM users that are really helpful and very knowledgeable as well, and I'm sure they can help you out too. So as always, guys, you're awesome, and I will see you later.